Hi friends, this is Leela. Welcome to my channel. In the previous video, we have seen about the mixins, how to implement the global mixin and all those things we have seen, right? Now, okay, these mixins work with the options API. So, options API for that mixins is okay. So, then what about for the composition API? So, for the composition API, will the mixins will be useful? No. So, for this composition API, what we need to use? We need to use something like custom functions. Some people will be saying something like hooks. So now let's try to use this one as a let's try to convert this one into a custom composition API, and let's try to use the custom functions for this one. So here we are having the mixins, right? So let's open this counter mixin and let's copy this all code here. Okay, I am trying to copy this all code into here. This is the previous code, so without mixin. So I can remove this mixin. Let's try to convert this one into a composition API. So now we are having the setup. Okay, in this setup, and here we will be having one counter. So okay, let's define the counter. Constant counter is equal to ref of, so default will be 0. Okay, so let's import this ref here at the top. Completed. Now we have a methods unmounted, we can remove this one. Okay, we have just checked for this one mixin which will execution, and methods we are having on increment. Okay, let's try to take this one function on increment. Okay, so it will be taking count. Okay, and here in this one, this dot counter plus is equal count. Okay, fine, counter dot value plus is equal to count. Okay, so this is the logic, and the same logic I can remove this on all methods. Okay, so the same logic I can copy and I can paste it in the contact also. So this is the, so I can paste it here. Now this is the composition API. Now, and also what we need to do is, so let's go to the app.vue and let's reintroduce these all the components. So what we have did, control U, and these also control U, and I can remove this counter mixin. I can remove these all mixins and mounted, and I can re-add this components again. Okay, so this is the previous one. Now let's try to see the output here. If I try to see the output, so here it is saying that on increment is defined but never used. Yeah, okay, fine, we understood. So we have defined this one but we never return, so we need to return, right? So return the counter and also on increment, right? So we have written the counter on increment, and same thing we need to use it in the here also. Okay, fine, done. Now let's try to see. Now if I click here, it is working fine. Here if I click here, it is also working fine. Okay, so now what we need to do is, so if we go into the app.vue, okay, so now this is the code we are having. Okay, and in this about and in this contact we are able to see, so everything is working fine. Now what we need to do is, so here if you check this about.vue and the contact.vue, the logic what we are having inside the setup is one and the same only. So how we can make the code, refactor this code? So reusability function, how we can use? Now what we need to do is, so these are called as custom functions or composables or hooks, we can call it as these things. So now let's create one new file, something like use counter.js. so you are able to see, you will be able to seeing that use store, these all things we have seen, right? Use router, these are all hooks only. So in the same scenario we are creating one hook so that we can use this one here directly, and I can copy this one all, and here what I will try to do is export function default. Okay, we can use default here function, and here what I will try to do is use counter. I am using use counter, the method, whatever the method you want you can give it. So this is the method name, and in this one I am copying and pasting it here. Okay, I can import that ref here on increment, and all those things what I can do is go to the about, and here I can delete this all code, and here what I can do is constant or otherwise yeah, counter or a counter data or something like this, whatever you want you can give, and here I can use counter. Okay, so if I want to use counter, here I can remove this ref and import use counter from, so where it is coming, hooks, it is coming from hooks slash use counter. Okay, and I can simply return this counter data. Okay, so the data you are getting from this function is nothing but this object only. So here we are simply returning that one. So you can also use directly return also here. And now what I can do about that view in the contact.view also, I can remove this entire code in the setup. Okay, and I can, what I can do is here return directly, you can use return use counter. I can directly use the use counter here. Okay, now what we can do is, so if I try to see the output here, the ref is defined but never used, so we need to remove this ref. Why? Because we are using directly there. Now here if I try to refresh, okay, we are able to see the same output. See, now the thing what has happened is, so simply we have divided the code in the composition API into a separate use counter function. It's a function, simply it's a function only. Here we are having a set of function, right? In the same scenario we have divided the code in the functions, and if you want any parameters, if you want, you can pass to this parameter so that you can use whatever you want. So for example, here you want to pass the default count or something like this, you can pass the count here. Okay, and I can use this default counter or something like this, I can pass here. Okay, default will be 0, and in this default counter I can use this one as a default counter like this. And here in the about count, if you want to pass 10 here, you can pass, and in the contact if you want to pass 20, you can pass it here. And if you try to refresh, see here 10 20 will be the default one, and from here it will go on increment. Okay, so like this way in the mixins it is not possible, so here in the use counter we can pass it like this. Okay, so this is the way how we can divide the reusability logic using the custom functions or hooks. Like this we can divide everything. If you have some other data, you can also use. So for example, constant name is equal to ref of Leela, I can use this Leela directly. Okay, so instead of returning this one, what I need to do is, so here I need to return the object here. I need to return the object, and here what I need to do is I need to do the dot dot dot. So I need to use the spread operator, and I can use the name like this. Okay, so here I can use directly div name directly. So now if I try to see the output here, the same output, it is okay, we have spelling mistake. Okay, so now if I try to check the output, ref is not defined. Okay, so we need to define the ref here. So I am using the ref so that I can use directly. And if you try to see the output, so here I can pass our own data also. So the function data and also the own data also I am able to pass. Okay, so this is the way we can write our own logic in the component, and also we can use the custom hooks, so that you can use as many custom hooks you want, as many custom hooks you can use, not a problem. So like this we can divide the data, like this we can divide the common logic in the composition API. I hope you understood about this one, how to use the reusability logic in the composition API. Okay, so if you have any doubts or any suggestions, please post the comments below to this video. And if you like this video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you.